Very good ritual for you tonight. But we're going back to ritual, the dark harbor. That's where the destination is tonight. There's a place called the dark harbor. And here, where you cannot serve God and Ammon, we hold a sacred space. And we do so through guarding these texts. And that's what I'm going to bring to you, are some texts. If you were there in the first century, if you step out the door and get a whiff of the air, it's the first century. Yeah, and the dudes, it was, we started to have our money all in common. Yeah, so we sold things off and we gave it to Peter. And this one guy and his wife, they sold their stuff and they didn't give it all to Peter. And what happened? Peter got really angry and a couple of people got smitten. Yeah, smiting, thorough smiting, and dead. And what is funny is most people know this episode. This is Ananias and Sapphira that I'm talking about, right? From the book of Acts. Most people know that episode. But John Goldenmouth, who's this wonderful, he's a wonderful scholar and teacher and, great homily writer. He's into the mystery. He knows what the mystery is. He's living too close to it. And he says, it was Peter, right? Okay, the miracle that happened, it was maybe not so much fantasy, because at the time that it happened, people didn't mourn the death of these two. They didn't mourn them, right? They went in. You got to understand. They went in to Peter, in front of Peter, closed the doors, opened the doors, two dead people, right? Smitten, smoted, smunt. And you don't realize that what the effect of that was. Watch the effect. John Goldenmouth says it wasn't about whether or not there was mourning for the dead and how the reaction of the crowd was. It created an environment of terror, and that kept the community operating. Isn't that marvelous? It's fantastic. Well done. Well done. We're going to look. Now we're going to go to a text and we're going to look at this in living. I want to step further in. Okay, the atmosphere, how it is. Those of you who are in the cult, and I'm sorry, but the warning is tonight, you're in a cult, right? You're looking at the cult from the inside. That's the perspective that I can give you, is to be gazing. I'm offering you the templum, right? You think templum is a building. It's not. Templum in its earliest form is a space. It's a space where an Etruscan haruspex comes out, quarters the universe, and creates a space in which can be housed the image. And that image reflected into your reality drives everything. It's the quantum physics to a very special place. I want to start with our dead physician of Nero. I want to go to his work, and I just want to look at a couple of words, and then from there, I'm going to take you. I want to show you the dark harbor and what it is. And I got to warn you, on tonight's journey, you may feel disoriented. You may feel things around you are changing. Don't let that temporary side effect of multi-dimensional travel disturb you. Just welcome. It's a pleasure. Okay, hit it. Let's pull up Andromachus. Give us Andromachus, please. All right. I want to go back to the first lines, and I'm going to read it to you in Greek so you can hear it, and we'll speed up our translation until we get to a point that we just reach this rich soil. Are you ready? Yeah, hear me, right? Hear me, right? Learn the incredible strength of the many-throned antidote, O Caesar. It's the giver of unassailable freedom. Hear me, Nero. They call upon her as Hilaren. They call upon her as Galene. They call upon her as Eudion. And who is the they? These are the echidnae that we're talking about. What is an echidnae? An echis is a viper. What is an echidna? An echidna is one of the ioboloi, the throwers, the slingers, literally the slingers of poison, of eos. And that eos is printed in this text. Who are the echidnae? Right? Here we go. We're in the right. They call her these three names, right? They invoke her, right? As these three. And then we get a funny, hey, kuanon, uk, othetai, liminon. And that is most literally, she who does not have a mind for, she who does not have a regard for, that is, she who is unafraid of what? The cyanic harbor, the dark harbor. That's who we're invoking. Yeah. And you ask me, what is the dark harbor? And I'm going to take you to the dark harbor. But before we get there, that's just the beginning. He then, from there, talks about the different venoms that Galene is able to navigate. Okay. All right, good. And he says, even the Poma Medes, the Poma Medes, the sacred communion or the sacred drink. Yeah, the sacred drink, the sacred, if you want to translate it potion, you could translate it potion. But the potion of the Medes who follow the Medea. Yeah, isn't that nice? So where is this harbor? In order to get you to the harbor, I want to step toward it. And the direction we're going to do that is through, because we're necromancers, right? For those of you who don't already know, or you missed the meeting, we're necromancers. And we call up the ghosts of the dead. Yes, and we bring them. Why would you do that? Why would you call up a ghost, right? Because, only for one reason, because we want to talk to the devil, right? We want to know, right? We want to have that oracle. That's why we're necromancers. Yeah, it's switch your poles for a minute, north to south, right? Just turn them around. Under these circumstances, all of a sudden we find ourselves as communicators, right, with spirits of the dead. This is the necromantic ancient world, and it has to do with a lot of mathematics. I met a physicist this week who's finishing his PhD in condensed matter physics. Yeah, and the changes from phase to phase. And he's looking at mathematics. This is very interesting. He's looking at mathematics, and he wants to know how it is, because he's an engineer as well. And he wants to know how it is that the Greeks were able to engineer with calculus when calculus hadn't been written yet. right? Yeah, so I went over to the shelf and I got my Greek mathematics book down, and I opened it to a random page where the muse led me. And it's the calculus through the language that they're able to convey. They're able to express the calculus with their own language. Their algebra, and you say, wait a minute, Greece didn't have algebra. Yeah. Let me show you. Let me show you the Greek mathematical works, okay? Let me show you. This is fantastic stuff, dude. What was his name? The Archimedes, right? And what he was able to do. This stuff is, oh, you guys are going to love How are these physics working, right? So basically, you have to draw the spirit. You have to draw the spirit and then control or bind the spirit in a binding that's akin to, I think the physicists call it entanglement now. Yeah, they call it entanglement. So let's open up to a passage of, this is Gaius Valerius Flaccus, and he had access to the Sibylline books. And I just want to put this quote up for you. It's an excerpt. Letiferes promet medicamina kistis virgineos quesinus ipsumque monile venenis implicat. Yeah, again, Gaius Valerius Flaccus, and he's one of the people who has access to the Sibylline books, and he is writing a work, a metrical work on, he's waxing lyric. He's writing a metrical work on Medea. And so I just want to bring that back up again, and I want to translate that for you. Okay? It's talking about Medea, and what is she doing? She is bringing out medicines from her kistis. Kistis. You know, that sacred basket, you know, that the Maenads carry around, right? Yeah, she's going to it, and she's taking out of it death-bringing, text please, death-bringing, she's pulling out of the death-bringing container. Yeah, container is the best way to express it. The death-bringing container, she is bringing out these medicines. Yeah, what is that container? It's the harbor we're looking for, right? We're looking for a harbor. I thought you were, okay, well, now we've got a container. And from that death-containing thing, she brings medicines. Quote, please. And the rest of the quote is, and now this is where we buckle your seatbelts, okay? Yeah, what is she doing? Implicat. She implicates them. To implicate is to engage something in the activity for which it was made. To apply, she's working over something with these medicamina. She's applying them somehow. To what? To two things. That's what the que does in Latin. It's beautiful there, both this and that. Right? On the one hand, it's her virgineos sinus that she's applying it to. And on the other hand, it's her monile itself. So the question is, what is she doing? The word virgineos is obviously from Virgo. And if I were to ask you now, I'll just lay down the definition for Virgo now. The definition for Virgo is a girl of marriageable age. Right? This is not virginity as you and I think of virginity, right? So yeah, this is an age of priestesses, right? Those virgin priestesses. That's awesome, right? We build a giant building on the top of a hill, and we'll put one of these virgins in it, this giant statue. We'll give her a big spear and a helmet, right? And she'll carry the aegis, The aegis. What's the aegis? Oh, it's got a head of a Medusa on it. Yeah, it turns you to stone. Yeah. You can't. The virgin, once you get in the virgin's way, that's it, bro. Right? If you're not clean, you're dead. Right? So what does she do? That's virgin. Long story short, brings the quote, that's virgin. I'm going to try to make you taste this text. I want you to taste it. Right? I want you to feel the authenticity. Her virgin what? She's applying these medicines to her virgin what? Her virgin sinus. Sinus. So if you can bring up sinus here. There we go. And you'll notice that it's essentially a curve, right? A little inlet of some sort, a little place or a fold. And you'll notice a lot of comparisons to folds, right? We got togas. And then we get lap or bosom. Lap or bosom. Right. This is the word kolpos. Go to kolpos for me. So notice what the first word is that we have it defined by is bosom or lap. Well, there's a lot of difference between bosom and lap, right? And I know bosoms, but what is this thing here? Well, cut to the chase, people. If that page were back up here, and it's okay, it doesn't need to be. But if you go to number 2, you'll see idoion. Well, what kind of idoion? Idoion gunaikeon. This word is particularly the female genitalia. Okay, bring up the original Latin text, please. Yep, this one. Oh, beautiful. Excellent. So thank you very much. I appreciate that, Shui. Monile. Look at monile. Yeah, what is a monile? And it's not just any monile, it's monile ipsum. Her very what? Her own monile. Now, if you look this up, which we can go ahead. We can show them the extended definition of monile. Yeah, look at this. Necklace or collar, right? Notice that it starts talking about jewels, but something that you might miss is that this is the Latin gemma, and I just want you to keep that in mind. And look here, we have the relationship to Greek miainos or mionos, right? And those are from the word miaino, and our root for mania, right? So to be in a state of mania, to maniacos, right? They have anyway. So what she's doing, and that fits the text that this is from, because Medea does this with her body. She does this, and when she is done, it says she turns into a fury and runs off. She runs off, and she's ready for battle now. But she's putting this stuff on her virgin sinus. A sinus is a sinus. It's an opening, right? A pocket, right? A pocket that you could have safe harbor in. It's the very word for harbor in kolpos. Kolpos means harbor, right? So we're halfway there. All we need is the dark harbor. Where is the darkness? Yeah. So, and that's why we need the echidna. You got to have those viper girls for now. And let's go. We're still maintaining that. We're finding that dark harbor, right? And let's jump ahead in time to the 12th century. We've got this thing called the Codex Walauni. Yeah, and the Codex Walauni is this terrible. The Latin is awful. It's a murder. I'd rather go outside and fight with the coyotes and the dingoes. I'm completely serious. In our range war that's going on here, I would much rather do that than work with this Latin. It's awful. It's no wonder the guys in the Renaissance turned around and they were like, this language thing is awful. We have to go back to what Cicero was doing. And you read guys like Petrarch. Oh, you would love Petrarch's Secret. Oh, and I almost forgot to tell you. I started to. Let me mention it now that I remember. For those of you who want the extra challenge, and you want to get in, you're interested in the necromancy side of this satanic initiation, go talk to Lord Byron. Lord Byron, follow the way of Cain, the mystery, the way of Cain, Lord Byron. And when you get there, you'll find the devil. And the devil will speak to you directly, and you will speak back directly. For those of you who have ears to hear, you know and respect this process. So again, it's necromancy, but you got to call up the dead to do that, right? Go get Byron, the way of Cain, and working. Rob, do you have anything to say about the way of Cain?
Yeah, I do, about the way of Cain. We've got to let them know how to get hold of the way of Cain. It's a play. It's a play by Lord Byron. And it's worth a read. It's worth getting hold of it if you can, and give it a read. And as you read through it, you'll understand what Ammon's on about. You'll understand. You'll get the idea behind the way of Cain. It's a very good read. I really enjoyed it myself.
Did you enjoy your conversation with Lucifer as much as I did?
Yeah. It's getting around about to that reason, the reasoning behind. This kind of gets into morals and reasoning. And
how does the devil? How did the devil strike you?
Reasonable. But you know, that's the way it goes, isn't it? It's reasonable. It's written by Lord Byron. He's a clever guy.
Yeah.
Real clever guy, well-educated individual who's formulated this way of this narrative to take you on a journey that initiates you. Because the initiation for me is a change of perception, a new part of knowledge coming into you that you can use yourself. You can use that knowledge yourself then. Obviously, you know a little bit more. If you're reading from these guys who have tried, they've laid things down for that purpose. I'd say that's the magic for me. That's the magic when you read it and it changes your perception and you think, I get where this guy's coming from. It doesn't mean you have to buy it and become it. What it means is you acknowledge it. And I'm talking too much.
So for those of you who want to talk to Lucifer, I encourage you to. And I for the rest of you who just want to come along for the ride, who maybe such a personal, calling isn't there or isn't there yet, I recommend some more Medea. So let me just make sure I finish covering this text before we get to the redheaded kid. I know that's the fun part. We're gonna look, guys. We're gonna spit someone tonight. This is great. You're gonna love it. But I want you to see. I just want you to make sure that you understand that text with Medea is talking about what she is doing. Is she is getting ready, and she puts this on her private parts. She puts it on her private parts, and not just on it, but in it, and makes herself into this fury. If you might could say Menad, okay, but the text says fury, turns her into a fury. This medicine that she uses, and later you remember that she is the black vulture that tortures Prometheus. Everybody loves Prometheus, right? Let me turn that. Everybody loves Prometheus. She is the one, get this, she takes a drug from blood that comes from his liver. All right, so now you're going to want, again, you're going to be disoriented. You're going to say, am I in fairy tale world? What? No. Let's stick with reality. Okay, if we go to the Codex Walawanni from 12th century, right, and we read the Latin, It's just a base description of Medea's fire or Greek fire, and it has a nice group of ingredients for the incendiary. Beautiful. And then, but within this incendiary formula is sandwiched these instructions. And I thought I would just bring those to you and let you digest them. The first thing that we do is we need a red teenage boy with lots of pimples. Lots of pimples. The more pimples, the better. Right? That's my addition. It's the more the better. The text just says with the pimples. So a youth with pimples has to be the red hair. You take this guy, it says you lure him into a banquet. You lure him to a banquet and you give him drinks that will put him into the Bacchic state. Yeah, that'll put him into that influence state, possessed, into that possessed state. And for 30 days, you keep him in a banquet that is designed to fatten and heat him. Now, you don't let him get near the dancing girl. Don't do it. It's always, they have to stay. Okay, so this is from the Codex Waluanii. Okay, and I think it's a Welshman, but his Latin is awful. It's absolutely awful. I mean, it's just painful. But here's what you do with the boy. Now, is everybody with me? So you've got him, and you keep him this way for 30 days, it says. Now, during this 30-day period, for those of you in Satanic Initiation who are interested in the alchemy side and in the psychedelic renaissance, this is probably the part that you would enjoy. Okay, so you take a copper pot, and it describes a covering that's made for it that has what's obviously some kind of pressure release, right? And you put this thing, it's a cauldron, you put it on over fire, and it's for heating. Well, anyway, you take this thing, this cauldron, and you put toads into it. Toads. And you feed those toads a regimented diet for 30 days. And it includes the milk. It includes milk. You're actually attaching them and forcing them to take nourishment it's obviously not meant for, you know what I mean? It's not meant for toad consumption, right? It's not a bug. But you take them for 30 days, and after, I think it's like 15, I don't remember how many days it is, but then you add this sea snake or sea crate. It's a sea snake. And you have to have fed it, though. You have to have fed it. Just hang in there with me. Human flesh first. Human flesh first. I don't know why it makes a difference. I'm just interested in the pharmacology, right? And anyway, so you keep this thing going for 30 days, and there's other things that you pile into it, and you make this kind of half living, half dead concoction that you're going to now boil, and what looks like maybe distillation or attempts to, it's good alchemy, it's good stuff. Anyway, so your redhead boy, after 30 days, what do? You're stuck with him, right? Well, you haven't even that's not even why you brought him, right? You haven't even achieved the effect that you're looking for. You take that redhead teenager now who's under the influence of tremendous amounts of drugs, and you take this guy out and you lay a bed of coals down and you put a spit over it and you tie him to the spit. Now, wait a minute. Why do you do that? Because you have to keep him a certain temperature, right? You have to raise his temperature. Okay. So, and then you cut his wrists and you bleed him. You bleed him, right? Now, it says you're supposed to bring him just to the point of death, just to the point of death. You put him in that intermediate space, right? And then, unfortunately, the text doesn't say you bring him back, but I think we would be remiss as scholars if we didn't notice a ritual here of burning off what they call burning off mortality. So the redhead is he's one of these Scythians, you know, and he's doing his thing. He's going through his initiation. And does he come out of it? I hope so. I hope so. I hear 2 out of 3 babies don't know what happens to that redhead. But you're not done with the formula yet, right? Because you're taking his blood and you can't let it coagulate. They say if it coagulates, it's no good. It's no good. Yeah, so you have to keep it. You have to keep it from coagulating. And then they take that with the blood of a dragon and what you take from his head when you cut it off. And these dragons are the guys like the wolves who are living out in the caves. Yeah, it's pretty cool. And they you can trap them with the right drugs, offer them the right drugs, right? And they will be subdued. They say a dragon is scary, feared by all. It's neither a god nor a mortal. Neither a god nor a mortal. And the one that guarded Medea's fleece feared only Medea, was considered a god killer. And if you'll notice that she put that dragon into the death state in order to claim the fleece, right? And she was very upset about it. She was very upset about it because, you know, Prometheus is a man. Yeah. And yeah, beautiful stuff. The dragon comes back anyway. When she burns up this palace and kills everybody, sorry, it's not like that's funny, but it's a long story. It's a long story. Probably not worth it. Oh, by the way, for those of you who know that Medea, or say Medea killed her children, right? The Corinthians made that up. There was an oracle that went out right after the kids of Medea were killed, her sons were killed, and she was able to escape from the city. They got sick with a plague. And the oracle said, it's because you killed Medea's kids and claimed that she did, right? It's terrible, terrible. Those Corinthians should be, good plague on the Corinthians. Hail Satan, plague on the Corinthians, right? Sure, plague on those people. Yeah. Anyway, let's go. Let's keep going through the text. We can't leave off you take the dragon's blood and a stone that you take out of the middle of his brain. Yeah. Okay. And you take all of these ingredients and then you're set to be able to make that Sabbat. There's a place. Okay. Think of it as a dimensional place that you can project yourself. This is how they talk about it, right? This is their world. You project yourself. This is fairy queen stuff, right? And that's why Rob is chasing the fairy queen. He's chasing Mab. He's chasing the Medea, right? Because she's there too in his past as well. This is Lady Babylon. It's she who bridges all of the languages. Yeah, isn't that nice? We were with the redheaded boy, and we took his blood and we mixed it with the blood of the dragon and with the gem that comes from his head. And now we have the ingredients from the cauldron, and these we can transfuse to burn off the mortality. Remember in the initiation of Eleusis, remember Demeter is working the boy Demophon. Yeah. and her mother walks in and she's like, "Oh my God, what are you doing?" Right? And the text says that she was putting him into the fire, right? And she says, "Look, you ungrateful jerk, right? I was going to burn off his mortality. Well, now, forget about it. Let him die." Right? What, isn't that cool? And so, yeah. He is he your redhead? He's in the position of your redhead. Rob mentioned today, and I want to talk about a question about pedophilia. Pedophilia. I want to open it up to the most uncomfortable academic discussion possible, because we have the freedom, if we are respectful and clinical, to be able to ask some questions. And from antiquity, they've got a word, paiderastia, right? Pederasty, right? It's a big thing. Look, guys, if we want to find that kid that was with Jesus in the garden, right? Then we have to know. What is the pederasty. Anyway, we'll talk about that. I'm wrapping up, and we're back at the Dark Harbor, and with the potion of the Medes, and we're trying to figure out what Nero is conjuring through this great this arch physician, and what they're trying to do. And it is consistently described as the same process. So you have to realize those, the purple trade in antiquity was huge, right? The name of the Phoenicians comes from it. So, and it's a extremely valuable commodity. I've looked at the drug trades in antiquity, and it's on par, with the drug trade. So, if the plants that you can get and where you can get them from, the murex. Can you get the murex? Right? It's expensive. It's more expensive. What did Rob? You reminded me today. More costly than gold, baby. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's finish though with the dark the Dark Harbor, or the Satanic Harbor. I hate to, but we need to make sure and get this image. So this harbor is the kolpos, right? The vagina, as you saw. And so you have a person who is producing a communion substance, that gemma that was with the virgin sinuses of Medea. That gemma, that jewel, is also called the cup. So when Lady Babylon presents her cup of porneia to us, that doesn't surprise any of us at all. It didn't surprise the Nicolaitans, right? That gemma, that jewel that is there, and she ejaculates, right? She has to enter that. And they picture Medea harvesting Prometheus, and when she harvests him, he enters a state of relaxation from intense rage. Yeah, chained to his rock in the Caucasus. Yeah, gorgeous stuff. You can smell the Scythian and Amazonian influences in the ancient ritual, especially if you see the drugs. And that's always follow the drugs, because it doesn't lead us astray, right? They're substances you use, and they do certain things. So yeah, any good questions?
Yeah, Cranium Maximus is asking, have we finished with the original text? Letiferis promis, meticum meaneth. I'm gonna stop.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. So Madea comes out, just to finish that off, to make sure that we've got the picture. She is inserting that oil, right? That drug within her vagina and on her gem, that is the source of the communion. Yeah. And then she runs off crazily. right? To battle, essentially. That now you know why they call them the sorceresses. They call them the drug wielders, right? It's a huge deal, and the ability to create these formulas. I mean, imagine just for a minute, step back for a minute, say, okay, these priestesses who are involved in all of this worship of this midwife and this poison shedder, Artemis, the poison shedder, who are in these women's a realm of magic and creation and destruction. Now you know what the sorceress is. That's what Lady Babylon is. She just does it in every language, right? She's able to bridge that gap in every language. So yeah, gorgeousness and gorgiosity all wrapped up.
Another good question is, Dark Harbor is Medea's body. Is this the Theriac?
Yeah,
that's
beautiful.
Nancy Divine. Thank you, Nancy. Thank you.
Is this the beast? I hear it. I hear it. Do you hear them, Rob? Is this the beast? Right? Yes, this is the Theriac. Yes, right? It's
thank you, Duncan. You're dead right. Thank you.
We have to find that. We have to find that Dark Harbor, right? We don't have the Sotera. We don't have the Savior until we have that. So, yeah, imagine think of the proposition of bathing your fetus in venom. Yeah, in order to bring somebody that could use a little bit more of their brain. Yeah.
I've got an interesting question. Do you get killed if you refuse the cup?
You're there voluntarily, right? You've come to be initiated. Yeah. And it's not like I haven't read a text. I'm not going to make anything up because there's no reason to. I'm not getting paid for this, right? I've never read an account of an initiate who wigged out, got I was like, wait a minute, it's too much. Right? No, I haven't. And that's probably because they're always drugging them. Yeah, you're put in the place.
I'd like to ask Dr. Buzzard, I'm sorry if I forget to mention names, but Dr. Buzzard said Tyrian purple are two brominated indole rings, tryptamine precursors bonded together.
Yeah,
excellent point.
That's what I was discussing. That's what I remember, Rob. That's what the physicist was so interested in. Love it. Now, what does that mean? Okay, having said that, Rob, what does it mean to you? What does that tell you within that purple dye of the mollusk?
It's what's in brackets, tryptamine precursors. That's what we were discussing today, isn't it? I'm learning here with this because I've got to bromine, but I haven't got past bromine, and I'm learning this today. Real time tryptamine precursors is what we've discussed earlier, and got to get that through in the head. Yeah, the purple is going to be a big discussion. There isn't anybody discussing it out there. There's only going to be yourself. This is the
Renaissance, Rob. You got to remember, baby, this is the Renaissance. We're here at the psychedelic Renaissance. It hit the medicine. We're going to be there, figuring these things out. There are doctors and therapists right now trying to do that. So, yeah. Why do you think, Rob, that they're looking for the mystery of the purple?
I think they're following the text. What century after century this is getting passed through. I think they're seeking the purple in this day on this.
Yeah.
Personally, and I think it's gone on for a very long time. Personally.
Yeah.
Could be wrong, and I'm more than willing to investigate and find out. Could be wrong about it. There's no there's no hubris here where I think I'm correct. You know, you research, you find stuff out, you ask it and you test, you give it the acid test.
Yeah.
You see if it holds up. And you've got to do that with everything.
Yeah,
That's the reason.
I'm willing to bet it would explain a lot when it comes to the Templars and that whole allegation of licking the anus or the penis for the purple. Yeah, I'm willing to bet it had, you know, it surfaces, right? It surfaces, the use of it does.
Well,
It's
it surfaces. I'm watching the Queen's funeral. The crown is sitting on a Tyrian purple pillow. It's nestled on a Tyrian purple pillow. The funeral casket is covered with a Tyrian purple, a huge cloth covering it, and then it's got the royal standard. I'm not sure how to pronounce that correctly, but right on the corner, you've got the Irish side of it, and you've got the heart with what I interpret as a symbol with the breasts out right on the corner. And I'm mourning, the Queen's passed away, but I'm also looking at that image and thinking, wow, it's purple everywhere. You've got a symbol on the corner. What? It's all there in the symbols, isn't it? And it makes you think. And like I say, I don't know if I'm correct.
If
I'm looking at it.
Can you lick that? Could you run up to that casket, lick the purple, and get high, or no?
That wouldn't be the. I mean, the purple dye is. It's not the same, but if it was, I don't know. I'd like to know. Don't know.
Yeah.
That's the answer. Yeah. I'd like to know if because they pulled out a jumper from a cave what had been there for I don't know how many years. I don't know how many years it had been there. But as soon as it hit the sunlight, the colour was radiant. The dye in this Tyrian purple dye only gets better. It doesn't degrade in time. It only gets better, apparently, from what I've read.
So
you know, that's why it's more expensive than gold. It was hard to extract, really difficult to extract.
So when you have it, why do you need the blood of the redhead or the dragon? Why do you need these? It can't. I think it can only be because you're potentiating, right? So you've got your DMT like effects, and are you somehow modifying through the system, through filtering it through the person, and they have to be of a certain Aryan makeup, right? And when I say that, everybody goes, "Wait, what did he just say?" Right? I'm talking about the Aryans, the real ones, not the mythic ones, right? But the Aryans who were coming up with these, with all of this pharmacology, these antidotes, and I think, there's a reason they took the name Medea, and started calling themselves Medes. So there's a certain power. We can't forget there's a certain power behind this whole process. We're in the Renaissance. We're going to discover this, right? We're going to find that this cup, and then we're going to want to use it. We're going to want to bring her back. And the evangelicals know this, right? They know it's a part of the plan, and that's why we are who we are. Hail Satan!
Hail Satan! sorry. I'm trying to catch up with the chat. I'm trying to get through the chat. I'm trying to listen. You know, I'm going to listen back. I'm going to have to listen back to this.
Yeah. Somebody asked me about the painting in the background. Somebody asked me about that. I'll answer that one. That painting was done at the St. Mary's University while I was contracted to bring the historical reality to the Senecan version of Medea. I was the translator and the advisor for the university production. And one of the participants whom I was able to guide through this process that we're doing now with initiation, they very successfully were able to, well, shoot, the earth was hit by a blacked out sun for a period of time. Yeah, right. From the dark star. The dark star was hitting the earth. You know, they had those detectors. Anyway, where's the painting from? One of these students had a class in art while we had a discussion about ancient magic. And while she was across the campus, I gave a talk on the image that you see painted in the painting, which happened at her, it was a free painting day. And she said she just felt like this image was coming to her. And so, you know, it's part of the magic. It's who is the image? She's bleeding, right? She's bleeding, and she's standing in a pool of blood. Yeah, and it almost looks like she's in the water, and you are upside down. Who's this woman? If you were John, and you were, you know, you knew that you could get bitten by an asp or by a viper, and it wouldn't hurt you, right? And you knew how the water works. You know why Lady Babylon sits on the waters, right? Everybody knows that, right? It's part of the physics that are involved in the magic. Yeah, it's yeah. So necromancy and alchemy, these are all coming back. There's a renaissance, as my new student physicist would be able to tell you. Look, people, we're in an area where this thing is a mystery, right? And it's gorgeous. There's something in the cup that's provided, and that's what we're almost there to find out, is what's in that cup.
Ammon?
Yeah.
Who and what is Satan? That's
Yeah.
I want to know.
Yeah. Who and what is Satan? And who asked that? Joe Jones. Joe Jones. Here's what I'm going to ask.
Jones. Sorry, Joe Jones. I must remember. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Who and what is Satan? Yeah. Here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to take that question to Byron. Okay, it's a necromancy lesson. When you engage in necromancy, you are involving a process that you can inhibit yourself. And the way to uninhibit it is to randomize it. And so when you come to Byron, you ask him a question, and through the muse, he can answer you back. So here's what I want you to do. Go to Lord Byron. This is right. If you wanted a necromancy assignment, here it is. Go to Lord Byron, Joe Jones, and ask the devil himself. Ask the devil himself. And if you do that, I want you to come back next Sabbath, and I want you to tell us what the devil said to you. Joe Jones, that is your mission, should you choose to accept it. Your satanic engagement. Yes, hail Satan, right? Fantastic.
We have a yellow shark. How does that have to do with Byron? Good question.
What does that? Yeah, and what does that have to do with Byron? Yeah, no, I'm giving you instructions. Go, right? Go. You know, Rob told me this week. He said he shaved his head, right? And because anybody that appears has to appear in mourning, right? Because we recognize the death of Jehovah. Okay, and if you cannot be born again without that state. You must be in the state of recognizing the death and mourning, actively mourning the death of Jehovah. So he shaved his head, and he went. That's scary. He shaved his head. Rob shaved his head, and he told people around why he was, because he was entering Satanic initiation. So that courage, we should take note of that. Those of us on this side of the pond should take note and honor that. And Rob, don't you just want to say
Quite
that?
simply don't care, to be honest. Quite simply don't care. It's my hair. It's my hair. I'll do what I want with it. Unconquerable freedom. That's what that represents for me. I can, if I want to. I'll do what I want.
Yeah.
If that's satanic, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. Amen. Amen. Right. I am the amen. For those of you who are interested on the necromantic side as well, it was a specialty of mine. The necromancy thing really turns me on. So for those of you who are interested, there is a seal. There is a seal on Jung's Liber Novus, right? And what I mean, there's a seal. I mean, Jung said there's a seal on it, right? On the work. It was split up into 3 notebooks at the time. They combined it into one, right? But he says there's a seal on the work. And if you can break that seal, you can talk directly to Ammon. So if you want, if Byron is not your thing, go to the Red Book with Jung and dig around, sniff around for the magician. And once you find that, then, and I can hear him as I'm standing here talking to you, I can hear Jung complaining, right? He's ball gagged, so he can't do much. You can only mumble. But I've got his black rod, the serpent rod. I've got it for you, and I want to give it to you. I want to make it common. I want to profane it so that you can use it as a key. So if you're interested in the necromancy side, Jung, the section on the magician. Yeah, the section on the magician. And look for Ammon. Look for Ammon. And when you find Ammon, then present your question, right? What is historia? Historia is originally a question. It means inquiry, right, in Greek. But it's a question. Originally, it's a question that you propose to an oracle. And the oracle is able to unite herself with the divinity, right? Who is then able to work through you and tell you, because it's past, present, and future, and tell you how it's going to work. Yeah, it's gorgeous stuff. You don't pay her. Right? And people will say, oh, they got treasuries and they got this and they got that. And they also know that there's a lethality involved, and we know that the price of taking cash in the Saturnian religion, if you want to call it that, in the Saturnian practice, the price of taking any sort of compensation is immediate ejection. Yeah, so you can't worship God and Ammon, right? Ammon, I am the great Amen. You thought it was Hebrew, didn't you? It's not.
Pursed lips.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it means. Pursed lips. Mystery.
Look at the go ahead and put up Harmonia. This is what we're trying to achieve, right? This is Harmonia. And Harmonia was transformed into a snake. Yeah. And why was she that way? Because a snake was her mate. Yeah, Cadmus, the one who preserved the burning purple and restored the lightning. So you're like, what? Right? Dark Harbor right? I'm teaching you as we're working together. I'm teaching you the Orphic Vox. I taught you the harbor, and somebody asked, "Are we done? Is it the vagina?" Yes, it is, but it's more than just a vagina. It's the Satanic harbor, where if you have ears to hear, you'll know what is there. Rob's people are doing this. They're entering that island, right? They're entering that island where that haze is lifted up, right? Which is funny because the Greeks talk about the passages the same way. There's a haze, a fog. Yeah, it's just, it's coming out of, look, here's where it's coming from. Show us Georgia. We'll go through some pictures of Georgia here. I just want people to see. Yeah, this is the beauty. This is where this great garden, this great paradise is achieved, this Eden. It's where it is achieved. Yeah.
Great. Wasn't Alexander the Great's mom Olympias known for sleeping with snakes?
Specifically, she was known for sleeping with Ammon. I'll have you know, sleeping with Ammon in the form of a serpent. Yeah, and how do we do this? It was back to the Egyptians, right? This was an Egyptian thing because he had learned. He was a pharaoh. He didn't get to be pharaoh without without having some knowledge, some priestly knowledge. And so anyway, he's casting. It's a magus, which our text right now, our beast that we're working on, our theriac that we're working on, it's in there. Yeah. And yeah. How do you present the cup? I'll answer that directly. The problem is that Carl Jung, in his red book, so-called, is using necromantic terminology, right? He is using a schema. He's using it of the outline of the universe that was pioneered by necromancers. I'll have you know, we're in Etruria. And we're dealing with an art that Jung is able to chart out beautifully, beautifully. So is Jung a necromancer? Well, why don't you ask his patient? What's her name? She went off to that Russian school that they shut down because of the pedophilia. Isn't that? It was Russian aristocrats. This week in Bible study, we talked about Ula and Uliba. And we talked about the aristocrats that they taught using the purple. And somebody asked about Mary. And yeah, there's a Coptic section. I don't do Coptic. I have a lot of respect for those of you who do. And I leave you to the science. But there's a text that in translation says that her midwife, Mary's midwife, probed her. She palpated her, insertion of 2 fingers. And had to pull her hand out because it was felt like it was on fire, right? They call it the burning purple for a reason. What's she doing? She was connected with a temple. Yeah, she was connected with a temple. And what do you think they're doing? It's exactly what we found in Bible study. Oh, Jerusalem, right? That's a temple, but oh, Jerusalem, Samaria, look what you're doing. So this is a real world. I want people to see the real. If you can start to taste the real, that's what's important.
We've got Hyperish as well. Rook thinks the Red Book came out of a drug experience by Jung. So Jung was dabbling with the dark arts and drugs before he wrote the Red Book. According to Rook, I've heard Rook say this. I know he's followed this line, and that's Rook's opinion. Yeah, I've actually heard him say that Red Book came out of the psychic. He says it took a few years off went kind of reclusive for a period of time. And during that time, he was, they think, and there's no evidence for it, as he's dabbling in. Look at that. Beautiful. Yeah, that's lovely.
It's not light reading, right? It's not light reading. But I do appreciate if you can appreciate the power of images, which Jung obviously does, and like they did in antiquity, because remember, the idolatry is just the power of those images. You know, even one that doesn't. Here, I just want to show you one and give you the appreciation. Yeah, here. Oh, look at what on earth is going on in this. Wow, viewers, do you see that? Do you see that? Now I know how those Jungians, they were the first. They were the original miners, you know, of the mind. They're the ones who crept in there and got done what they needed to get done. Ask his patient. Ask his patient. He'll know what a dragon is. Don't worry. Right? Petrarch, people, if you're more interested necromantically, if you're more necromantically inclined, go to Petrarch. He wrote a work called the Secretum. I'm giving it all out tonight. He speaks about the code that he uses in it. Okay, you'll notice, I think it's section 3.5. 3.5. No, or is it 350? I can't remember. Anyway, it's Petrarch, and it's called The Secret. And in the preface of that, you will see the physics laid out of how this necromancy works. Petrarch uses necromancy with Augustine. And in order to get there, he goes through the muse, whom he calls, who does he call? You read this, didn't you? Didn't you, Rob? Initiate. You read this, didn't you?
I haven't read the red book, no.
Oh, okay. Well, then find out. Yeah, Veritas, right?
Oh, I will.
She is the truth. She is that truth, right? She is Sophia. For those of you who don't realize it, we're trying to find Sophia, and people were asking, well, what about, it's almost like he's teasing us with both genders. Yeah, I am, because you get down there and you find that Aphrodite has a penis. Yeah, I'm not kidding you. If we have to go back to the earliest sculptures, we'll find that she's got that penis, and she uses it. And why? How is that part of? I wrote a book called Hermaphrodites, Gynomorphs, and Jesus. Right. So, yeah, this is good stuff. You people don't buy it, pirate it, because pirate it. Nobody gets it, but it doesn't pirate it. Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff.
Jan. There was a question, and the board doesn't work. The bloody thing went on. There we go.
Yeah. Petrarch, The Secret. Petrarch's The Secret. Byron, if you want to speak to Satan directly, and I know Joe will, right, report back to us and let us know what Satan told him, or is the answer to his question. And Petrarch is working with working with Veritas. He's working with the truth, right? But not just the truth on paper. He's working with her. So this is a sacred feminine power. We need to, the last thing we do before we take the redheaded boy's blood that we've been putting over the spit and bleeding, the last thing we do is that we gather the wolf's testicles, right? So the dragons and the wolves, we have a Greek text that tells us these are positions of temples, right? Positions at temples. These are guardians. They're guardians. So you can take one of these wolves, and if you get his testicles, and why would a wolf be giving you his testicles? Because of what makes Rob so uncomfortable, and that is the pederasty, right? It comes back to the pederasty. biochemically, it comes back to the pederasty. And hence, if we're going to ever elucidate why that kid was with Jesus in a public park at 4 a.m. and he was naked, we're going to, and it's got what can be used in antiquity as a medicated wrap, what are they doing? So we have to dig into that pederasty. When they told me you couldn't say the Romans used drugs, I was like, okay, it's my mission in life to find the deepest, darkest corners of antiquity and to dredge it up. And I didn't have to go far. I just had to go to the Garden of Gethsemane. Yeah, I love it. What's with the redhead? What's with the redhead? What's with the redhead? Rob's got a theory about what the head thing are. What the head thing? Rob, where did these redheaded Scots come from?
You with Saint Andrew. Saint Andrew brought him over. There's a legend. There's a legend to that degree that he brought Scythians back with him, as the Scottish have got Scythian heritage within them, brought back by Saint Andrew, who's the patron saint, and has a genetic quality that runs through him. So that's like we were laughing, weren't we, yesterday, because I said to you, yeah, that's kind of a stereotypical Scottish guy who you're talking about with the red hair, the pale skin, and the pimples. And I'm like saying, yeah, I can see a Scottish guy. And that's stereotyping, which is something I shouldn't do. But it is a stereotype. There is that stereotype. And
it makes you wonder, is there some genetic thing going on? Is there something involved here that we have to have that Aryan, that Black Sea, late Bronze Age gene in order? I mean, in the Crimea, right, where all the interest is now, they still have women who are performing death rites, right? They're performing sacrifices and using dotes and antidotes, poisons to do it. And is that the source? Is that the origin? People are.
I think gingers have no souls. Gingers have souls. Of course, that gingers have souls. You say gingers have no souls. You see, Yellow Shark is asking who brought them over, and it was Saint Andrew. That's the legend. It's Saint Andrew.
So it's something about their genetics, right? It's some way that they process the chemical, and it's obviously they're taking a kid. They're saying you can't sexually satisfy him. He has to remain in this agitated state while you're collecting his blood. And so you take a kid, obviously going through puberty with his pimples. And by the way, there are female performers, right, in sheer outfits, right, oiling themselves and dancing. So is this doing something for the redhead? Is it somehow, when you put him into that death state and then presumably bring him back because you're performing these death and resurrection rites, is there something about his state of mind? A peculiar combination. This is what brings us the orge, right? A peculiar combination of fear or panic and sexual intensity puts you into a place where you can chemically produce a substance that was used in this initiation. I mean, it's great. And what do you have to do with the wolf? You have to get his testicles. You get his testicles straight up. And so somebody can put all this biochemistry together and figure out what's going on. But genetically, there's a link there. We can't escape that history. You need those sons of God yeah, to produce that substance. They
Okay,
say that ambrosia flows in the veins of the gods. You know, Rob, you were talking about horsemen. You were talking about Mongolian horsemen drinking their own horse's blood
yeah,
in a kind of a
when, when
vampiric way to stay alive.
yeah,
That
that's when they can't push it.
symbiosis. Yeah.
We've got Yellow Shark. Can we talk about the astrological aspects of Lady Babylon? Is the waters the elliptical plane? Is the beast Hydra?
Yeah.
It's a question, but
Yeah. The astrological aspects of Lady Babylon. Sure. I'll just mention a few things. I'll just throw a few things out, right? She's that queen with the stars, and she's presented on the Greek side as having a black cloak, a black peplos. It's actually a peplos, covered with stars, and so right away you know exactly what religious neighborhood you're in. And people say, what are they doing with the stars? It's the religion of the sun, the moon, and the stars, right? The Saturnian golden age. You know who we worship? We worship the sun, the moon, and the stars. And what do we do with those? We draw down the stars, right? That's what our action is. So when you go see Satan, find out who those stars are, right? And how they can be drawn. There is a universe out there. There's a universe where you can be struck by that lightning, right? And you can exist within that lightning. Yeah. Do you want it? Do you have ears to hear? Do you want who wants the manual, man? I'll give you the manual, the PGM, and you can experiment all you want. You can open portals, get yourself into big trouble, right? And push toward the mystery. But what amazes me is that all this mystery is about one oracle. It's about one queen. Yeah, there's no boy in the garden. It's all about her. And somehow it gets yanked historically. It gets yanked into this masculine form where we are using the Herculean boy as a source of our Galene. Yeah. And so, we have some explaining to do. If we can see this history for what it is, right? At least we'll know that. I thought a week ago when it says in the Bible that Jesus was touching kids, and the people were complaining, and they're like, tell him to stop touching the kids. And he's like, his apostles come to him, his disciples come to him, and he says, oh, what are you doing? You're trying to scandalize me, right? You're trying to get me in trouble. That word for touch has been translated to you as touch for a reason. It is also the Greek verb for to molest. Yeah. Was Jesus a child molester? Yes, he was. And his religion was satanic, just like the religion of the Jews. Yeah. Satanic. Yeah. It's beautiful. Oh my, it's gorgeous. Bronze Age, people, back to the Bronze Age. Got to go back to that queen. Got to go back to that one queen. Yeah. The best tool to remove the scales is the reality. Take her to the garden. Take her on a date to the garden, right? Be there with her and show her the boy. Show her the three men who are standing at a distance, keeping watch, keeping guard in a public park at 4 a.m. Show her the authorities that show up, right, for the raid and capture Jesus. Show the fighting and somebody getting an ear chopped off. Show the boy running away, right? Take her to Ananias and Sapphira. and say, the Lord struck them down, right? Show her these things, right? Jehovah's weakness is the reality, right? Because what we have created from it doesn't match it. It's just a reflection of the reality, right? And it's important if you're going to work with somebody who is within a cult, right? Christianity is a cult. It always has been a cult. It always will be a cult. It operates on the terms that every cult operates under. And its salvation that is offered, it's ionic life, it's not eternal life, it's ionic life that's offered, is why you can make mountains move, right? They are very much dialed in to the magic already without them even knowing it, right? They're very dialed. The Christians know. They know it's the apocalypse, right? And despite the fact that they worship a liar, right, and place him on the throne of tyranny, despite that, reason will get to them. Let me just repeat something that was told to me by a Jungian. A Jungian told me, practicing Jungian, told me and recognized for his talent, told me that there's something about the treatment of Nazis and presenting the maternal figure to them, right? You present the Great Mother. Find the Great Mother that is rejected by Jehovah, and you've got your crack, right? That power, that feminine power, that mother who is the Virgin Mother, right? That, imagine, in every temple, you bring three forces together. Okay, I'm just telling you old Roman magic. In any temple, you bring three forces together, right? And so if you bring the Virgin, the Queen, and the lover, if you bring Aphrodite and you bring Hera, and you bring Athena, then that combined power is able to disrupt the masculine, the feminine. The secret is the feminine magic power is superior to the masculine. That's why Zeus is always looking over, the Greeks recognize this. Zeus is always looking over his shoulder because the Sibyl has said he's going to be overthrown, right? Jehovah will die, right? That's all there is to it. And it's the feminine that brings him down, right? Why do you think they're so afraid? When a man is transformed into a woman using chemicals or surgery, why do you think it so disrupts the Christian and the Orthodox communities, whether they be Jewish or Christian Orthodox, right? Why do you think it disrupts them so much? Because it's a manifestation of the power that they know can kill their God. We are the generation of Orion. We are the God killers. How do we get there? It's the Saturnalia is that golden age. It's the freeing. It's the unconquerable or the fearless freedom. The fearless freedom. You reach that. It's an age. It's described as an age, right? But we're talking outside of time. We're not talking about temporal ages, right? It's a power. Think of it as a power, the imposition of another dimension. And what does that dimension represent? It represents freedom so that slaves become masters, right? Become the I shouldn't say, the inversion is to allow them to partake of the opposite pole. So they don't do it just with slaves and masters. They do it with parents and children as well, right? So the children. For Saturnalia, I let my kids call the shots, right? And it's their choice. And we follow their will, and they guide. They take over and they guide. So we masters of students, the students take over, right? And when those students take over, when that younger generation takes over with its freedom, you're in a Saturnian place, or a satanic place. That road disappears into the new. I'm telling you, it's a Mycenaean thing. Okay, so Satan is not who you think. His name is not even who you thought it was, right? It is Saturn. So, and hey, if there's only one way to follow that, we can do it through the drugs. Yeah. So good. Saturnalia, fantastic. There's a ton. Macrobius. Read Macrobius' Saturnalia. Whoever asked that question, go resurrect Macrobius and ask him specifically. Invoke the muse and ask him to show you. Do it respectfully. You can't come in without an unshaven. Right? If you want to follow, you have to sell everything you have, give it to the poor, and you have to commit, right? Because that's the way the mystery works. Yeah. Lord Snappy, yeah. Good. Fantastic.